In the last month, Obsession has become the most talked about movie in the world. Made on a shoestring budget, boasting one of the standout acting performances of the year, and directed by a sketch comedy YouTuber, whom you might remember from an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the film has become a box office sensation and garnered rave reviews across the board. So, seeing the fervor, I went to see what it was all about. I left quite underwhelmed. Obsession follows Bear, a young man played by Michael Johnston, who has a crush on his friend Nikki, played by Inde Navarrette. They both work at a musical instrument store that, for some reason, looks to be stuck in the 90s, and Bear is terrified of revealing his true feelings. One night, he discovers a novelty item in an occult shop called a One-Wish Willow, whose hokey packaging claims that it has the power to grant him one wish. After driving Nikki home and once again failing to vocalize his feelings, Bear attempts to claim his wish, that Nikki would love him more than anyone else in the entire world. Suddenly, she appears once again on her front porch and comes to his car, possessed by a dangerous desire for him that will have deadly consequences for everyone involved. Inde Navarrette is the #1 reason Obsession has become such a sensation, and she's one of the only truly great qualities of this film. She takes what is little on the page for her and makes it a feast. She reels you in with her magnetic screen presence, which makes the speed with which she can turn charm into pure mania all the more frightening. Just as impressive are the few moments where she is allowed to show us the real Nikki trapped beneath the surface. These are the most harrowing moments in the entire film. Obsession's greatest flaw is that it isn't really a film about Nikki. It's a film about Bear. Or rather, it is told from the perspective of a nondescript person named Bear. I can't even fully call him a character because what real characterization does he get outside of his attraction to Nikki? What is his backstory? What motivates him outside of her? He is the blankest of blank slates, and Johnston's unremarkable performance doesn't help. Some contend that Obsession is a clever critique of rape culture, a repudiation of male indifference to the thoughts, feelings, and consent of women. But while that may be suggested by the premise, I think this is a surface-level reading that gives the film far more credit than it deserves. The way a story is told and how it comes together on screen is also important. In making Bear such a vapid, barren vessel of a character, writer and director Curry Barker has made him primed for the audience to fill that space. In short, Bear is an audience surrogate. He's just relatable enough without having any unique characteristics that would separate us from him. So how can the film be this grand critique of him when we are so grounded in his perspective? On her Substack, film critic Angelica Jade Bastian put it best. What makes Obsession interesting at all is Nikki's story. The idea of your control over your own body and your life being taken from you by a man you thought was your friend is genuinely terrifying. I couldn't stop thinking of the fear and terror that would consume anyone's psyche as they were present in a body they could no longer control, forced to witness repeated sexual encounters you didn't consent to. Instead, Barker shapes this premise into a tragedy about Bear's self-inflicted journey. The movie is so eager to frame him as a victim, it loses out on a far richer line of inquiry and muddles its own story. We get very little time with the real Nikki before her story is completely taken away from her and she is replaced by a caricature of a crazy girlfriend. Instead of experiencing the anguish of her perspective, we are presented with all the ways this isn't fully Bear's fault. He didn't know the wish was real. She flips out when he rejects her advances, so what is he supposed to do? It is his moral duty to give her what she wants. Our main experience of Nikki in Obsession is not as a victim, but as the perpetrator of violence. Let me say that again. Our experience of Nikki, a woman who endures repeated sexual violence throughout the film, is as the perpetrator of violence. She is the creature in this feature, and her lack of consent is a mere side note to the horrors that Bear endures. What is so galling about Barker's handling of all this is that much of it seems to come from a complete lack of interest in or care for his characters. None of these people have lives outside the confines of this limited tale. and they are all easy fodder for both cruel laughs and even crueler violence. Obsession is incredibly mean-spirited, and it is not hard to notice how gendered the violence is. Sure, some of what happens to Nikki is framed as part of the horror, but there are uncomfortable moments where the film seems to delight in her misfortune, or play it for laughs. And without spoiling anything, in the third act, the fate of a male character is handled quite differently from the fate of a female character. The lack of care leaches into every aspect of the filmmaking as well. Aside from a few small moments, Barker's frames are muddy and dull. Much of the film feels underlit, there is little attention paid to color, and, to be fair, it looks like a film that was made for $750,000 while apparently underpaying its art director. So much of the film looks like it is framed for vertical video, wasting large portions of the screen. Even the editing seems to have TikTok brain, never allowing any moment to breathe and speeding past any scene that might threaten actual character development. Director Cory Barker was asked in an interview with Total Film about the mechanics of the One-Wish Willow, which apparently is being used by many other people around the world in this universe. He admitted that it's a plot hole, saying, "It's something I don't like to think about too much, because it totally doesn't make sense that there's a world of people just making wishes, especially when the world around his characters seems relatively normal." This is my main gripe with Obsession. It's not so much the lazy world building, but the lack of thought that gave birth to such a lazy world. Nearly every issue with the film flows from that. And it turns out that when dealing with loaded subjects like women's bodily autonomy and consent, thoughtless writing can lead you down some pretty misogynistic paths. I'm giving Obsession 2 out of 5 stars. It is currently playing in theaters.